Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a topic that many people find complex, but also really want to understand better.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we want to approach it by looking at what psychology tells us, really moving beyond, common misconceptions.
Exactly. Forget the stereotypes. We're focusing on the psychological understanding.
So maybe the best place to start is, well, where does schizophrenia fit? It's a type of psychological disorder. What does that actually mean?
Okay, good question. So, our sources point towards this idea of patterns. Psychological disorders, they're marked by these persistent patterns
Patterns in what, though?
in how people think, how they feel, and how they act, their behaviors. It's not just a one-off thing.
Right. It's recurring. And importantly, these patterns usually cause significant distress to the person experiencing them. It's not just unusual, it's, well, difficult.
That distress part seems crucial.
It is. And
Uh-huh.
when these patterns become really clear, really pronounced, and they consistently get in the way of someone's life,
That's when mental health professionals can often identify what's going on, make a diagnosis and start offering support.
okay. And just to kind of set the scene, it's probably worth mentioning how common mental health challenges are in general.
Oh, definitely. Context is important here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this statistic, something like 615 million people around the world dealing with anxiety or depression.
It's a huge number, absolutely staggering.
It really is.
And knowing that helps, I think. It shows that dealing with psychological distress isn't rare. Schizophrenia is distinct, yes, but it exists within this broader landscape of mental health.
So it normalizes seeking help in a way.
Precisely. It underscores that experiencing psychological challenges is, unfortunately, a widespread part of the human condition for many.
Okay, so connecting that back, schizophrenia is one specific type of psychological disorder within that larger picture.
Exactly. It has its own specific set of characteristics, its own patterns that psychologists study and try to understand.
And like with anxiety and depression, there are ways to help.
Right. Yes, definitely. It's important to mention that various psychological therapies exist. They might not be a cure in the way we think of for some physical illnesses, but they aim to alleviate that distress, help manage symptoms, and really improve a person's overall well-being and quality of life. Therapy is a cornerstone.
So if we're pulling the main threads together here,
Yeah.
understanding schizophrenia starts with seeing it as a psychological disorder.
Right. Defined by those persistent, often distressing patterns and thoughts, feelings, and actions.
And crucially, it's something where professional help, like diagnosis and psychological therapies, is available and can make a real difference.
That's the core message, I think, recognizing the nature of the challenge and the existence of support.
And thinking about that wider context, again, the sheer number of people facing psychological issues,
Yeah.
it just highlights how vital ongoing research and accessible support systems are, not just for schizophrenia, but across the board for mental health.
Couldn't agree more. The need is immense and the work continues.
So we've established this foundation. But it leaves us with a pretty important question to think about, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, given that schizophrenia is so complex and our psychological understanding keeps evolving, what are the key ideas, the sort of core principles that actually guide the therapies being used now? How do they try to help people navigate this experience day to day? Something to keep exploring.